do here is go back.
Let's give this a go and see what actually happens. Is it going to work? You never know. It might do. And we're currently taking advantage of the setting sun. Got to save electricity where you can. And hopefully you can all hear me and or see me. It's been a while. Feeling a little bit rusty. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully everything is so good. Ugly Bob says, "Oh sweet G-Bus, it's working." It does look like it. Looks and sounds good. Nick Barr says, "Oh, dark channel." Yes, it is. We'll put the light on in a minute. Just making the most of the sunset. The sun is setting very much like my 40s. Some of you will get that.
Shall we do super chats?
Yeah, let's do. We'll get this. We've had some super chats coming already, so let's quickly acknowledge those.
My back.
And again, thank you all for joining us on this Saturday, the 4th of May. May the 4th be with you. Always. The first week of May, I don't like. Again, some of you will know the reason behind that. And, well, we'll do first super chat will come through. There's been a couple of PayPal donations, so thank you very much. Stuart Cleary, bless you, Stuart. £20 and says, "Happy birthday to lovely Kath. Wishing you all the best at MUB headquarters." Thank you very much, Stuart. Much appreciated. Hope you and the family are all well. There was, Kath's queuing them up. There's a massive donation of £50. I'm not sure if he wants me to say it or not. I won't say the name.
You've just got to say the...
But I don't know whether he wants me to say that out loud. Oh, what the hell. He says, "Happy birthday to the both of you. Lots of kisses from Ugly Bob." So thank you very much, Ugly Bob. Much appreciated. I'm not sure whether you wanted that public or not, but it's a bit late now. I can always retract it later.
And then I don't know the...
We had a super sticker from Rick H. He's been a member for 31 months. He says, "I'm still part of the MUB community. Yay. Yay indeed." Thank you very much. There was another super chat from Rick H. Bless you, Rick H. $5 Canadian dollars. No, $5 American dollars. Was it Canadian? American dollars. American dollars. £5. It says, "For the MUB channel and all the great things you do for us." Well, I think it's a two-way street. It's mostly you lot doing good things for us, and I'm just the face that you see on the screen. But thank you very much. And from Skystalker, there's a super sticker. He's also been a member for 31 months. Thank you very much, Sky, and hopefully you are doing very well. And let's see what else we've got here. There's another £2 from Ugly Pop there. Disco Birthday Disco. Yes, it is. Kath's birthday was on the 3rd. Yesterday. Mine is on Monday. Bit of a milestone for me on Monday, unfortunately.
Biggie.
One of the big ones.
60. Wow.
60 years old. Shit. Is there any other I've got to acknowledge quickly? No, we are all good. Oh. Dave Aiken says, "Ugly Bob, do you want my PayPal? I'll take 49. Viali says, "Do you still have that rubbish Virgin internet?" Yes, unfortunately. Actually, on that subject, I'm trying to think now. Why does my mind always go blank when it needs to? I think a sign of old age, I suspect. We are being sent over a Netgear mesh set from one of our Discord members. I'm not sure if they want me to say it or not. So if you're watching and you don't mind me saying, mention it in the comments. But yeah, someone's kindly donated I think it's a Netgear Orbi mesh. So we'll be replacing the internet here again To be fair, the M1 multi-set has been okay, but every now and then there's been problems, and I still can't work out whether it is just Virgin Media being rubbish. Virgin Media has a problem. For those of you that are outside of the UK, in the UK there's kind of two main ways you can get your broadband. There's Virgin Media, which is the kind of fibre, which a lot of places can get, and is actually quite fast and I would say relatively inexpensive for what you get. It's a pretty good deal overall, but they have lots of issues with ping. So because of the way the system works, if there's a lot of people in your road that are all connecting to the same box, your ping can be horrendous. And even if there's multiple people in the same house all accessing the internet at the same time, your ping can be very inconsistent. So that leads to lag, splutter, or potentially your stream not working. So there is that. I don't think we have the option here for a kind of BT or British Telecom copper line, because we had it removed basically when we moved in about 15, 20 years ago. So we don't physically have a telephone line come into the house. Now I know a lot of telephone lines are being removed with fibre now, so I'm not too sure where we stand there. I think we can pay like £50 and get a line installed, but yeah, it's one of those things. Been with Virgin Media now since 97, I think.
No, 2001. Oh no, broadband was 2001, but just before that, because we were messages and
Yeah,
stuff.
we were on, there was,
Yeah,
it was
we were
cable
cable
iNet, which was, I'm sure was 98, 97, 98. So we've been with them a long time. Anyway, Ira Wolfman says Virgin Media is DOCSIS, it's not fibre. Yeah, it's kind of partial fibre. They market it as fibre because the fibre optic comes all the way up into the kind of the green boxes in the street, and then for the last kind of 100 meters or so or less from the from the box, it's just a normal wire or coax cable generally. So yeah, it's sort of fibre. It's like 99.9% fibre in terms of the length of the signal. We'll see. Dave says Mike's getting a dodgy ping in his old age. I know. Ugly Bob says FTTC, fibre to the cabinet. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Nick Barnes has sent this in £20 on PayPal as well, also. Says, happy birthday, Kath, 21 again, and happy birthday, Mike, for Monday. All the best from... You have to scroll, I can't see the rest. As it says, Nick, Joe, and family. Oh, Nick, Joe, and Molly. Close. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. I'm actually feeling my age. The last couple of weeks, I've been feeling my age. I've had what I believe to be some kind of inner ear infection, and it's been driving me nuts. Dizzy spells, brain fog, ringing in my ears, all kinds of weird shit going on. It's been pretty horrendous. And actually, I'm quite glad that last week that we couldn't do a stream, because I don't think I was actually mentally prepared to do it. My brain was literally all over the place. So hopefully it'll be a bit better. It's not perfect. I'm still probably about 80 to 90% of my peak capacity. I'm like an old iPhone battery, which has been charged numerous times. And yeah, I'm not quite there. I could do with a new battery, I think. Hopefully now the sun's been shining here in the UK, and we'll get a bit more sunlight, a bit more relaxation in the garden, get the melanin going, and Indian Mike will make a return, hopefully. Calf's breaking the thing.
I'm not breaking.
There we go. There's another PayPal donation there from Matthew Day. Thank you very much. £5. He says, celebrating my free chair. Matthew got a free gaming chair this week. Excellent stuff. He's good at bargain hunter. He really is. As are a lot of you on the Discord and in the general wider MUB community. We love a bargain, don't we? We really do. It's good stuff. So anyway, yeah, brilliant to see you all in the chat with us tonight. I was having palpitations, which someone my age you really shouldn't do, but I was having palpitations because I did the thumbnail, I'd done the video, I actually did the unboxing, I've recorded the unboxing video for the case that we'll be seeing tonight in the stream. I was recording that during today. Hopefully it's all gone okay.
Oh, sorry, mates.
Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I didn't even think to ask Adam over at Thermaltake to say, is there actually an embargo date for this particular case? And it wasn't until probably about less than an hour before the stream was due to start, that I actually thought to myself, shit, maybe there is an embargo. Maybe I can't actually take this out on the stream tonight. So I was desperately trying to contact people over at KitGuru, because KitGuru here in the UK, being a bigger channel and a bigger organisation, they generally get first dibs on a lot of Thermaltake stuff in terms of reviews. So they get like worldwide firsts and all that kind of stuff. So I reached out to them, see if any of them knew the answer. Matt over at KitGuru, bless you if you're watching. You probably won't be. You're probably enjoying your Saturday evening. If you're watching, thank you very much for replying so quickly. And also thank you to Adam at Thermaltake UK, who I think is probably camping this week of doing something which people do at the weekends, unlike us. It is a bank holiday this weekend here in the UK, so if you're not sure what that is, a bank holiday, essentially years ago there used to be a thing where banks would close and basically everything closed specific times during the year. There's about 7 or 8 bank holidays a year, like New Year's Day, Christmas Day, that kind of stuff. But May Day, or the first Monday of May, is traditionally a bank holiday. But anyway, people go away expecting it to be nice, and they book up in advance to go camping or holidays or whatever, expecting the weather to be nice. And this year the weather's taken an absolute turn for the worse. It's absolutely awful at the moment. But today, actually, not been too bad. Temperatures are rising. It was, oh, it didn't say on that screen, does it? Does it say on that screen? No, it doesn't. It's disappeared. I think it was about 16, 17 degrees out in the garden today, with a little bit of sunshine, which was nice. Nice to get out and get some fresh air, get some sunshine, and yeah, it just feels nice when there's just a little bit of warmth in the air and it's not that kind of miserable, horrible grey, which it generally tends to be. If you're someone who lives in the UK, especially in the slightly more denser populated areas, it's pretty grey and pretty cloudy and pretty cold most of the time. So you have to look forward to these sunny spells and make the most of them. No doubt, when it does actually start getting warmer and it hits like 20 degrees, we'll all be complaining, oh, it's too bloody hot, I wish it was cooler. But we are a fickle nation here in the United Kingdom and very proud of it. I think that is one of the things, if you're an Englishman, a Scotsman, an Irishman, or any of those other jokes, then yes, we do love to talk about the weather. Being a small island, we do get very changeable weather. Mostly grey, mostly wet, mostly cold. Anyway, hashtag waffle, you're absolutely true. Thank you, Paul, for that. Very kind of you to point that out in the chat. Appreciate that. Yes, so many things we have to go through tonight in actual fact, because we missed out the stream last week. There's a couple of things which I want to show you, products we've had in for review, which I think are actually pretty cool. And also I do want to do a test as well. We've got a microphone which has come in from our good friends at Fifine, or Fifine, or whatever. I'm not sure if we've actually shown this. I'm not sure. Did we show this before? Did we actually test it?
Because you were doing all that 555.
Brain is gone. I can't remember. Anyway. So, got a microphone. This potentially could be the answer to some of my prayers, because it is a dynamic microphone. So in theory, it should reject things which you don't want to be heard, which could be useful, especially our fridge freezer is noisy as all hell. We live in a house, we've got neighbours, we've got cats. Yeah, it can be a little bit distracting at times. I am sensitive to noise, very sensitive to noise. I think that's why my ear infection is even worse, because certain words and phrases, and even tapping on the desk, which Kath's doing sometimes, drives me absolutely nuts. It's actually physically painful. There is a medical terminology for it, but there's basically nothing you can do apart from put headphones on. So anyway, I digress. So we're taking a look at that. Well, we're taking a listen to that to see what it actually sounds like, because I'm not sure whether I might end up using that for streams, so I don't have to keep on charging up microphones and having mic packs and all that kind of stuff, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass. Rick H says, I hate loud noises. Yeah, I'm not keen on them. Nick Barnes says, oh, I saw that in the last video release. What do you think about Fifine for Zoom calls? I think it'd be really good. From what I've already tested and what I've done in the video and done some approximations against my normal lav mic, it's a very different sound. So it's a more compressed sound. So you lose that kind of the wideness that you get from a condenser microphone. You'll notice it when I switch them over. But yeah, it's kind of, it condenses the the sound spectrum. It sounds narrower, but it's got a really, really nice, deep, rich tone to it. So if you like listen to podcasts or like any of the kind of the shield streamers, as I call them, which have got their massive microphone up in front of them, that's basically all you see in the screen. It's that kind of sound, and it sounds really nice. If you get really close to it, it can sound really, really gorgeous, deep, just a really nice warm sound to it. If you're a bit further away, I think it sounds slightly more natural, but anyway, you'll hear it, see what it looks like. Rick says the lav mic Mike uses sounds great to my ears, currently using headphones. I'll be honest with you, the condenser microphone, which is in these little lav mics, is really good. It genuinely is good, and I think I've found the best place for it. So it's actually underneath my t-shirt, rather than being clipped onto the front where it can pick up other noises and the vibrations or reverberations in the room. It does well because that blocks a lot of it out, which is why I generally always
stick it on the front of you with gaffer tape.
When we first started doing this, I actually did a video as well, getting gaffer tape and actually putting the microphone in gaffer tape and sticking it to my chest, which if you're a hairy swine like myself, is fine until you have to want to take it off. It hurts. Anyway.
But funny.
Yeah, it was funny. It was actually quite a nice sound to it as well. And because of it being stuck away, it kind of tends to remove some of those plosives. I do suffer because I drink a lot of tea and coffee, so my mouth is generally quite dry, and talking for a long period of time, it dries out even more. So I do have those kind of clicks and pops and sounds that you get from the human mouth. It's almost unavoidable, but I have to have the microphone close to my mouth because of the amount of reverberation in the room and the other noises going on. Otherwise, it sounds really, really bad. Worse than this, believe it or not. So we'll be taking a look at that. Nick Barnes says, look forward to review as the webcam is end of life. I Wolfman says the condenser is more accurate. Condenser microphones generally have a wider sound stage as well. So it encapsulates all of the sound which is going on around you, which gives you that kind of wider sense, which is sometimes can be really useful. If you're outside filming kind of nature or any kind of outdoor stuff where you want to pick up that ambient noise, condenser mic is so much better. But like news broadcasters, they will use generally a dynamic mic because they want to have the news being read and they don't want too much of an interruption. Yes, Kath?
Mohammed, but before that, Matthew Day says install more cats for soundproofing or sound buffering.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we could strap cats to the wall.
I think we should have a cat wall.
Kath wants a cat wall. Not going to happen. We ain't got enough room for us in here. Let them cat wall.
Get rid of that junk. Have a cat wall. And they do tricks up and down the wall all night. William
Bodie's with us. Says, oh, not so good. The stream freezes on me now all the time. This is not something from my side. That's weird. I don't know why it's doing that. Is everyone else experiencing any problems with the stream?
Dutch John's the same area, isn't he?
Wayne says, of course, Rode microphones are awesome. They are an Aussie company. I've actually got a Rode Video Mic Go, I think, in the drawer. But it's because it sits on top of the camera, it's kind of useless for me over there. Stream's doing fine, no issues here. Okay here, I'm good. Hayden says, never freezes for me. Wonder if it's an ad blocker thing. Potentially. It does seem that, because Dutch Jan and William Bodie, I believe, are both in Germany. So whether it's something to do with the German servers, I don't know. Wolfman says, dynamic is great in a noisy environment. Condenser needs a room with soundproofing. That's why I tend to use my clothing as the soundproofing effectively, because this is our living room, our dining room. This is the base. From the moment we get up pretty much in the morning, unless we're doing other chores, this is the room that we're in. This is it. So we can't really do too much to it. You don't want it to be a complete studio with like sound deadening and gantries and lighting everywhere, because it's our room as well. Anyway. David Underhill says, Firefox is buffering badly. Chrome and Edge are okay. Very strange. Very, very strange. Stuart Cleary's in the chat. How you doing, Stuart? And thank you for your donation. Much appreciated. And Steve Larkin says, stream sometimes freezes, but audio carries on for me. Okay. Mark Berry's watching this on a Fire Stick, no problems. Paul Lamont says, evening all. How you doing, Paul?
Did you do Mohammed's question?
What was Mohammed's question? I didn't even see it. Let me scroll up.
i5
i5.
13600K.
Yep.
With RX7700XT is good build.
Yep. Yep. 13600K with the RX7700XT is a good build. Definitely. Yeah. And in fact, you'll probably have less problems with that than what you would with an i7 or i9 possibly, due to all the issues that Intel have been having recently, which is, yeah, not great. Intel have been having a rough couple of weeks. Well, I think Intel have had a rough couple of years since AM4 basically came out. Wayne Taylor says, shit, how big are UK houses? Not big. This room is
Postage stamp sized.
9 foot by 12 foot. The room behind is similar size.
Bigger, slightly.
Upstairs bedroom is basically a replica of this room. So, yeah, if you take that in meters, it's like 3 meters by 4 meters. So it's pretty small. It's like a shed for Australians and Americans. Snap Gaming says, your audio mic is very good, Mike. No streaming problems at my end. Do you need any soundproofing material in your environment? Not really. It would be useful. I've always wanted to get to the point where I have a microphone just boom slightly out of shot and not have to keep on wearing a microphone. But then it also brings in other issues. Then you have to synchronize the audio with the camera audio and all those kinds of things. So this, actually using a lav mic, a wireless lav mic, or a connected lav, is actually probably the best solution in terms of keeping things nice and simple. Although if for some reason the audio doesn't work, I don't have any backup audio, so I am kind of knackered in that respect. I would love it if Boya actually brought out a microphone set which is the same as this, but actually did a backup recording actually in the actual mic pack as well. I think they do one, and I think it is due out, but I've not seen it here in the UK yet. But that would be really nice. That would be very cool. Aletta says, 9 by 12, that is small. My living room is 18 by 16. This is, I would say, an average or potentially slightly above average size for a kind of dining room technically. This is a dining room. 1930s house is what we live in. Generally you'd have a room at the front of the house, which is kind of like your living room. That one is a little bit bigger. It's probably about 2 foot bigger in length. A little bit wider as well because it kind of tapers out. So it's probably 16 by 14. So it is a bigger room. This is a bit smaller because it's primarily just for eating in. Kitchen is basically the same size again. I'm probably boring you all now. Nick Byron says, question, do you look back at early videos and compare the quality of audio? Sounds great to me as you have it now. Now, to be fair, the Boya mic that we bought very, very early on in this, because I always realized that kind of audio is a large percentage of the video. The video quality can be pretty much piss poor, but if the audio is nice and clear and crispy and you can actually understand it despite my Bristolian dialect, then you kind of won most of the battle. So having a nice audio was key. So the Boya mic, which I bought from probably about a couple of months into the channel, I've almost always used that Boya type mic, whether it be wired or the wireless version which you're hearing now. So that is one of the things which we've kind of stayed with pretty much all the way through, and it's, to be fair, it's been very, very reliable, other than when I've run over the cables and gradually broken the mic. You think we do a video every single day, so every single day the microphone's getting unplugged, wound out, trailed around, we've got the cats, etc. And for a £15 mic, I think the Boya mics are spectacular, and anyone starting YouTube or wanting to do streaming or anything, I would seriously recommend them. They are very, very good. Yes, Kath? William Bodie. I'm sorry, the video freezes all the time, only audio goes on. Did refresh maybe 20 times more. I give up now. Oh, damn, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm not sure why it is. Maybe it's the browser. I don't know what was going on, but I am very sorry to hear that. David Under says, just use Rode mic, not worry about audio dramas. You would say that.
Mark Berry got a good deal at Lidl, I think it was.
Where is that?
Bought a SanDisk flash drive at Lidl today, $4.99 for 64 GB.
Nice.
That's big.
Nice. Right, I'm going to need a drink of water or something lubricating, he says. Make sure I don't grab the wrong one. Good stuff. William Bodie says, it's only with this channel I get this problem. That is so weird. I don't know. I've actually increased the output as well for the stream to make it have more bandwidth available.
It must be something to do with YouTube itself then.
Yeah, it must be YouTube. Just
didn't they
don't like me.
Funny about him commenting and stuff once.
It might be.
YouTube, which was nothing to do with us.
Right, what should I do next? Right, this one is actually going to be, this is where I go into shill mode and potentially get you to spend money. At this point, actually, can we have the light on? And that one, well, that one will be right, I think. So we're actually going to have a look at something. This is very cool. This is a present from Kath to me. She didn't know it, I just bought it and then it arrived. So this is from a company called Technically Stable. They're based in the UK. I think it's two brothers, got their own kind of printing press. And you can buy mouse mats. So you can either get a custom one. So you provide the image and they will dye sublimate the image onto a mouse mat. Or you can choose one of their pre-existing templates, of which there are numerous. Or potentially you can get yourself a nice Mike's Unboxing one. I will provide the image should anybody need it. I'm actually trying to work with these people to see if there's a way that we can do that a little bit easier rather than me having to email it to them more. So you can just select it yourselves if you wanted to pick one up. So this is a 40 by 90 mouse or desk pad, whichever you want to call it. But the actual unboxing experience and the kind of level of customer service and thought that goes into this is very cool, which is why I like it a lot. And also, if you use a referral code, now any of you can do this if you want to. So if you use my referral code, which is linked in the video description and also on our Discord, etc. So not only do you get the mouse pad and also a little bit of a discount, you're also helping the channel as well, because we get a little bit of a kickback as well. These are about £25, which for a big mouse pad, I think is actually pretty good. Don't worry, William, I'm not getting rid of Boba Fett or Mandalorian or whatever that is. It is Mandalorian, I always get that confused. But this is going to be really handy for some unboxings and stuff because it's got our logo on. So I'm going to put it onto the overhead camera now, which hopefully is working. Yeah, that looks to be good. So let's take a look and see what this is all about. So you can see the packaging, nice gamery packaging, which is good. And if we open up this here, you can see there is their thing. The world is, they've blurred that out because the world is something, but at least we're technically stable. And because these are basically rubber mouse mats, they also include one of their own air fresheners as well, which smells of oranges, I think it is. Yep, oranges. So you get an orange flavoured air freshener, which you can do whatever you like with. And the mouse mat itself is got some Velcro tie wraps on with their branding on, totally stable. And it comes in a little bed of all recyclable materials, so that is very cool. And now we can take a look at the mouse mat. So again, you can choose to have a design of your own, or you can use one of their pre-existing ones. And that's running the wrong way.
50-50.
So yeah, it was a 50-50. And there you go. That fills up almost the whole screen. So that has got the Mike's Unboxing logo and also the PCB motherboard background, which is a little bit old school. That was what we used to have on a lot of stuff previously, in a lot of videos a while back. Now it tends to be just the black surround on that. But I wanted to have a little bit of extra detail going on here. Maybe some other stuff on the side. I might rejig this a little bit to bring the colours and the vibrancy of the motherboard back up. But overall, I think it's actually really nice. And surprisingly, it actually lays flat, just like straight away. Quite often with these things, you have to leave them somewhere for a little while to actually kind of flatten out, but it's completely flat. It is water and stain resistant, I don't know whether you put it in the washing machine, potentially you can, but it's got a nice dye sublimation. And actually, considering the this one here, which is an official Star Wars or Disney product, I would say they're actually, in terms of the quality of the print, there isn't a lot between them. Now, of course, if you want to, you could even just get an image of this and put it onto a larger mouse mat and save yourself the money and make up your own mouse mat, however you want to. But there we go. I think that's very nice. And, of course, it tracks particularly well. And it's a nice size. So, yeah, you can go over to the Technically Stable store. Technically Stable, and place an order if you want to pick one up. You have got a discount code, which is the word Mike, so that's pretty easy to remember. And yeah, you can get yourself a nice desk pad. And it's got a nice smooth feel to it. It's got actually really nice edges, no frays or anything like that. Just appears to be a very nice quality mouse mat, rubber backed or neoprene. I'm not too sure which it is. But yeah, sticks very well, protects the desk, which is good because this desk is wrecked. And there we go. Rick says I'll be happy to pay for one. I'm not too sure what the shipping is like outside of the.
That's Welly Bob.
I was reading up and down.
Oh right, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what the deal is when it comes to shipping outside of the UK. I'll be completely honest with you, because it's only something which I've stumbled across like in the last couple of days, and what with everything going on, I haven't paid it full attention. But I thought for the money, like 25 quid, it's probably not the cheapest on the planet. And it's probably not necessarily going to make you any better at gaming. But it's a nice mouse pad. It seems like a reasonable price. And it's two guys basically working up in... There's a place in the UK called Dis, which is... I'm trying to think where it is. I think it's just...
Norfolk, isn't it?
Norfolk, is it?
I think so.
Yeah. It's somewhere north of Bristol. I'm not too sure exactly where. Most places are. But yeah, it's in the UK. It's two guys trying to make a business. Again,
yeah, it's in Norfolk.
In Norfolk. If you want to pick one up, feel free to do so. If you want the logo for this, I am in the process of uploading it to their server. And also I'll put it on our Discord as well. So if anybody wants the logo, you can knock yourselves out, go with it. And delivery time, I think on this was about 5 days or something.
It was quite a while.
Because they did say on their website at the time when I ordered it that there was going to be delays because they're not back until the 29th. And
so
then
that's fine.
Yeah, so you generally should get them within a couple of days. So yeah, I think it's really nice and it's a little bit different, and it's a way of you getting something and also helping support small businesses in the UK and also helping support the channel. We get like a couple of quid commission, if that.
Buffering.
We're never going to... it is buffering, isn't it? Why are we buffering now? We dropped any frames? So OBS hasn't dropped frames, so it must be our internet connection. Damn it!
Kieran says 1 out of 10 for that.
Slight...
It needs more RGB.
It does need more RGB. Right, we're buffering, so let me see if I can reduce that a little bit. I don't know why it does the buffering. It's bizarre. Video outputs. Let's fast. Let's try that. Let's see how that goes. Make some small adjustments there. It will buffer for a little bit and it should settle down, hopefully. But yeah, very nice, very smooth. I like it. Stupidly, it's actually too big to fit on my desk, so it is going to probably be used here. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, anyway, I think it's pretty cool. I like it.
They don't do custom size ones, do they?
At the moment, they don't do custom size ones. So 90 by 40 is the only size they offer. I think that's down to convenience because all their packaging is things. It's a very, very small little upstart company. They're just trying to they're gamers, they love all this stuff. They do some really nice Nissan GTRs. So if you're into your Nissans, or actually anime, you're into koi, fractal shapes, you name it. If you head over to the site, you can see all the different versions which are available there. But there's there's some pretty nice options. And of course, if you want the Mike's Unboxing one, that is also available. Anyway, let's move on. I think that's enough outright shilling. I actually do like this a lot.
Welcome.
Thanks, Kath, for my birthday present, which I ordered for myself. Right, let's try out this mic. Let's get this out of the way, because at least I can throw the box away or do something with it. So this is the Fifine or Fifine.
Been on the site and put a custom one in my basket.
Nice one, thank you, Viali. Happy days. Make sure you use the discount code Mike when you're checking out. It should give you, I think it gives you 10% off. I'm not too sure. It's not a massive amount, but hey, it's better than a kick in the nuts, as they say. USB cable, type C to type A. I'm going to leave that in there because I'm going to use one which we have here opened already. Because I like to reuse cables. I don't know why.
Normal size next to you.
It looks normal size. Yeah, this is just a normal 5x8 mouse pad. It's just, I have the king's hands. There we go. There's me getting banned again.
Can you spill some water on it, please?
Can I spill some water on it? I probably could, yes. I would have to get some water, so bear with. Alright, kettle on. Oh yeah, there is water. Hey?
What are you doing? Fruit juice on it as well?
No, I'm going to drink the fruit juice, because that's full of sugar. And also it's out of date.
Be off your
That's bargain.
bits. Bitty.
Bitty. Right, let's have a look, see what the waterproofing is like. It appears to have beaded okay.
Put the other arm. Do it again on the other camera.
That appears to be beading.
My back.
That's probably a bad idea. There we go. I think the these microfibers are about absorbent is well, something which is not absorbent at all. These microfibers are well past their best before date. Passes the water test. Thank you. No problem. Change mic on stream. Pray for the tech gods for success. There we go. So, oh, even with the bit of pressure on there, it hasn't soaked in. I need to get some blue roll on this. Well, it's skating around. Let's get some blue roll on the go.
Rick says it passes his water test, thank you.
I did just say that.
Oh, sorry.
It's alright. So I've noticed at the outside edges where the stitching is, that does absorb water very slightly. So the main area, I guess the thread at the end is going to be some sort of fibre or cotton or whatever it is. So I think that's pretty much expected. But yeah, it seems to be, well, you can see I'm rubbing it here and it's not actually going into the print or anything. It is just kind of skating around a little bit on the top. So it's pretty cool. And again, it's helping out a company which is trying to kind of make a change or do something a bit differently. They've got a kind of few plans as well for the gaming community. So eventually they're going to get to a point where for every mouse mat you buy, there'll be part of that money will go into a kitty, which then they'll be doing giveaways and other promotional stuff as well. So trying to give something back for the things they do. But like anything, they are a company, they are trying to stay afloat in this world. So yeah, I think they're off to a pretty good start. And actually the water test on here is pretty valid. So I'm very pleased.
Rub some mink oil on the edges to make them waterproof. What's that?
Some mink oil.
That sounds a bit rude.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I should do that.
And Ugly Bob was relieved you didn't pick a sock up to do it.
I didn't pick up the sock, no. Peter S, hi all, good time I see. How are you doing?
Do you need a drink? Hey, Otis.
Wayne Taylor says, I'm going to print my own Kojak Mike's unboxing reviews and how-to. Is this off?
Do you need another drink?
Don't know. When was this out of date? 30th. Oh, that's right.
So is that a no?
Mm-mm. Mm. Very good. Banana, coconut, and apple, I think. Very good. I like that a lot. Probably need some water in it to cleanse my palate. I missed. Actually, this thing sheds water better than my jacket. Right. Irie Wolfman says, beer and Cheetos test next. I don't think there's anything which will beat Cheetos. Cheeto dust is just evil.
Is that what's it?
Yeah. How's it for head polishing? That's a very good question. Still some water drops on the mat mic. Is there? I can't see them. Oh, there might be a little... Is there a couple there? Clean up on aisle 5. If all else fails, just do it the bloke way. Just use your own t-shirt. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Wayne says, don't worry, Mike, I'm as bold as a badger's ass as well. Excellent. Right, where was I? Oh yeah, microphone. Which camera are we actually on? That one, that's fine. Right, so let's take a look at this microphone. So this microphone has been sent free of charge by Fifine, whatever you want to pronounce it. Someone said they're called Fine, but there's no way on God's green earth that says Fine. It says Fifine, or Fifine. Anyway, moving on. So it's got a removable pop filter on the top, dynamic microphone. We've got some touch sensitive buttons there, so for RGB lighting, of course. You've also got 2 rotary dials, one of which is for the microphone's actual sensitivity, and underneath that you've got one for the headphone volume, because you can actually plug in a set of 3.5mm headphones, so you can actually monitor what you're saying and get some feedback. And also, if you're streaming, obviously you can pipe through the game audio into your ears rather than it being kind of bled into the microphone, something which I'm not very good at doing. Hopefully this year, when Computex starts, we should be able to do some live streams and actually get some footage and do some commentary on it. So I'd be interested to see how that pans out. You've got the XLR input, or sorry, XLR output. So you can output to a audio device, a DAC, whatever, XLR microphone mixing desk thing, or you can use USB Type-C, which is what we'll be using today. On the other side, another touch sensitive button, which is the mute button, which is kind of nice, and there's also an LED built in there as well, so you can see if you're actually muted or not. The only thing which I'm a little bit unsure about, which I think is going to be potentially an issue with this, is the fact that it's on a kind of like a U-clamp rather than being on a shock mount. Because it's a dynamic mic, especially if you're using XLR, because of the kind of the extra input, or the kind of the, what's the word, I'm not even sure what the word is, but you basically, it's going to pick up noises. So if you touch the microphone, if you touch the USB cable, if you do anything, it's going to have that noise. And I quite often hear that, especially on a lot of streamers on YouTube, where they've got the microphone and the gain is just turned up too high. So all the time there's that kind of background noise of, not like a whine, it's just like an amplification noise. You know, like if you go to a gig and they've got the band set up, they're not playing, but the amps are already cranked up, and you can just hear that kind of amplification noise which is coming through the guitars and microphones. I don't know what it is. It's an application thing. Anyway, also there's a nice heavy metal stand on a 1/4 thread, and you can actually, inside of there, it's built in. There's a 5/8 and a 1/4 thread.
Is it omnidirectional?
It is not omnidirectional, so it has, because it's a dynamic microphone and it has a cardioid pickup pattern, it's designed to pick up anything which is basically going straight into there. It will reject noises to the side, to the back, to the front. So you do have to have it kind of pointing towards your mouth, or at least if you want the highest pickup, you can do. If you want to use it off axis, you can do, to remove some of the plosives, but you'll hear it now, so you'll get the idea. Domus Mark, gifted 10 Mike's Unboxing reviews and how-to memberships. Thank you very much, Dom. Much appreciated. Charles Ballard's been gifted. William Bodie's been gifted. Tough Enough has been gifted. Firestorm, Wayne Evans, Inky 1919, Russell McCoy, Hayden Trent, Barry Cartwright, Dangerous Gambit. There you go. Bless you all. And now you've got early access to videos. So you can get early access to pretty much a good week's worth of videos. So if you're bored out of your mind, nothing better to do, or maybe your kids are misbehaving and you want them to go to sleep, you can put me on and it will force them into submission. Especially the live streams. They're long. Anyway, moving on. So we'll plug this in now and see what it sounds like. This might not work at all because just this setup, which hopefully will be changing very soon because we're going to take a look at that case in a minute and look at some of the parts. Thank you, Dom. Much appreciated. Yes, it does need need an acoustic decoupling mount. That is the word I was thinking of. I wasn't really, but let's plug this in. Hopefully I've got a spare USB-C. Actually, I don't think I have I? Oh, I should have. Let's take that one out of there. And I'll plug that in. And there you go. You can see it has RGB. So you won't be hearing this yet, I don't think, because it's not active, so it's going to be fine. So you can press the button and you can choose any of the static available colours. So you've got red, yellow, green, or limey green, cyan, blue, magenta, some, I don't know what that is, mint, matcha. This could be Thermaltake's matcha green. Then you've got your unicorn puke, and then you've got the one which has the same colour all around but goes through doing the unicorn puke thing. I'm guessing this would be like your traditional traditional 12 volt RGB unicorn puke rather than being the addressable version, which isn't technically addressable, but you get the idea. It's a colour change thing. Anyway, so that's the lighting. On the other side of the microphone, oh, that was a rookie mistake. Need a shorter USB. So on the back there, this would normally be looking kind of towards you, so you can see the light. But you've got a green light, so that means it's on. Press it, turns it off. So that's kind of handy. You're still going to get some pickup noise when you're using this, but
Great pickup.
It's yeah. Pressing that lightly is going to be a lot less distracting to your viewers than having some kind of physical switch button, which will definitely go through the microphone. So I'm going to put this on now, and I'm going to put it around that way, and you can tell me what you think of it. If it sounds better, if it sounds worse, if you like it, if you dislike it, and all those kinds of things. Now I have to put the cable somewhere so it doesn't get moved around and hopefully doesn't kill me. I don't want to be hung. I think generally in terms of ways to go, that's probably not the best. I don't want to be hanged. So there is my microphone gain. Don't need that on because
what are you doing?
Actually that's good. Let them make noises, because that'll be a good test of the microphone. So I'm going to switch over to it now and see what is going on. So stream mic, we'll change this to, oh, it's not showing it, stream mic. Default camera. Microphone, Fifine microphone. And there we go. I'm not sure if you can hear me at all. Can I see? Oh, hang on. I need to scroll down. There we go. So yeah, let me know. Can you hear me? Does it sound okay? Does it sound much different? Is it still very quiet? Okay, let's turn up. Is that any better? Very bad sound. Very quiet. Okay. We still need to work with this a little bit. Hey, Dave. Dave likes it. Very bad sound. That's a bit louder now. Can you hear? Louder?
Dave.
Damn stream gone into Taiwanese. Very muffled. Wow. Let's crank that up a little bit. There we go. Is that working now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Needs more gain. Sign language, please. Bump up the volume. Not a great start. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Does this sound like I'm actually a radio broadcaster and not some dude sitting in his living room or dining room?
Pretending he's not just in his pants under the table.
Turn it up all the way. It is actually on all the way at the moment. I think. Microphone. Yes. That is on. That is at its loudest setting.
No, it's okay.
So maybe it does need to do some changes. Up. Testing, testing. 1 2 1 2. Are you a bingo caller? Mic boost. So that is on full blast. Let me make some adjustments. Where are we? Stream mic.
What is it? Candy?
Right, okay, so that has got 6 decibels of gain. Is that any better? Can you hear me now? USB input may need tweaking on PC. Sounds like Kenny from South Park, lol. Is there something not working right? Is it because I got it plugged into that
Or
socket?
is it Dave?
Can hear a bit better now. That is good, Viali says. So you can hear me now?
A bit better now.
I think that pretty good, says Skystalker. It's not sensitive at all. Jeez, that's so weak, comeback boyers. Right, let me see if there's something which I've done here. It's possible I have. So let's give it 20. Okay, how's that? Is that better? Can you hear me now? Sounds Radio 2-ish. Nice. Smashy and nicey here. Sounds a bit strong. Now sit back a bit, sit up straight. There we go. Low's better. Too strong, if anything. Too much, too loud. Right. How about that? Is that better now? Can you hear me now? It's very loud. It's a very clear sound, very loud. How's that working now? Are we any better now? Too much interference. I think that's because I've got too much gain on there. That just jumped.
You can move the mic away, you don't have to lean back.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I know. I can move. I just did move the mic away. Is that better? Too much volume. Too much overdrive. Buzzing noise, too much gain. Right, okay. How about that? The sound is perfect. Fine now. Here you are. Push the mic away from you so you aren't right on it. Very loud. Sounds just about right now, actually, says Willy Bob. Says Ollie Bob, sorry. 6 dB was fine. Can hear your belly crave for beer. You're just about fine. 2 little ducks. 22. I can't say 88 because no doubt there'll be some YouTube thing about it. Not off, pop pickers. So I think this, from what I was experiencing previously, I had it plugged into my other PC over there, and I was recording a video, and then I kind of normalised the gain between two microphones.
Mark Berry did 88, and it actually held it for review.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Sound audio subjective. All good. Up a little. It is directional mic. Now just speak normally. I am speaking normally.
Ugly Bob, 69.
Don't speak loudly. I'm not speaking loudly. This is just my normal voice now, isn't it? This is about normal level? I think it is about normal level. Maybe it's slightly off access. That might be better. Not too bad.
What are you two little...
Wayne Taylor says sound levels are fine, but you still sound like a pommy. Not much I can do about that. Maybe turn it back up just a hair if you stay at your current distance. So there you go. It's a little bit more. Now, really, with this, because it is a dynamic microphone, it's got an XLR output. So really, you should put this into an XLR mixer to get the best out of it. It can be used on USB-C, but it will take a little bit more tweaking. So there we go.
Randy.
Still, you're a little bit lower. Snap Gaming says. Now you're fine. Just pot it up a hair.
Randy.
just tied up a little bit. Randy, where's Randy?
Is 7600X good with 4600? 45, yeah.
Ah, I see it now. So Randy asks, is the Ryzen 5 7600X good with a 4060 Ti? It is, but the 4060 Ti is one of those graphics cards where it was never really right for the market at the time. So there isn't a bad product, but there is a bad price. And the 4060 Ti was essentially the same as the 3060 Ti. There was very, very little difference between the two. And being that the price was considerably more or the same, it was kind of like a pointless thing. Now, it does use considerably less power. So if you are someone who's considering power efficiency, then definitely it's going to have some bearing on it. But it's not a great card, especially now that AMD have dropped some of their prices. So if you can get a 4060 Ti for the same price as a 3060 or less, then I would say it's possibly worth looking at. If you can, then really all you can do is either go up or down. So if you get something like a 3060 12 gig, that might be a better choice if you can pick one up cheaper. Or if you can afford it, spend a little bit more money and maybe get either a RX7800, good choice, RX7800XT, even better choice, because that's roughly the same as an RTX4070, but for somewhere in the region of about £450 here in the UK. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one. The 4060 Ti is in such a weird, precarious position that it's not been a particularly popular card. Charles Ballard says, don't touch it now, just do your stream. Okay. Ira Wolfman says, pair it with an Elgato Wave XLR. There's another question there. It says, hey, would the MSI Pro B650M-P work with a 7800X3D? Yes, it will definitely work with it. Whether or not it's the right motherboard is another question altogether. The M-P hasn't got a particularly powerful VRM, and ideally is probably more suited to CPUs, possibly like one tier down. So you're kind of going to be on the limit of what that board can actually deal with. It depends what it is you're doing as well. If you're just gaming, generally it's going to be absolutely fine. If you're doing all core loads, then that is when the VRM is going to start struggling a little bit more. Hopefully that makes sense. Rick H says, I'm using Mike's favourite, GT1030. Get in there. I've still got the GT1030, it's still here. And here is Candy. Hey, Candy. Candy's gotten bigger. Much bigger. You alright?
You gonna drink some of that water?
Candy? Now, actually, one of the cats is eating out of a bowl in the background. Can you actually hear that at all? Can you hear the ka-ching of the collar against the bowl? I want to know what the noise rejection is like. But it's really hard for me to make a video and then work out what the noise rejection is actually like. I'm guessing if you were to switch the audio between this and my traditional mic, this sounds a lot more compressed, which is the whole idea. And Kath just coughed then. I'm not sure if you actually heard that or not. Our Wolfman says, can hear everything. Shit. David Under says the MSI Pro series is not really suitable for the high performance CPUs. It's not, yeah, it's not intended for it. It kind of, the Pro range is more really designed for kind of workstations, but you're kind of like your office cheap PC rather than being a kind of a workstation for doing, I don't know, audio work or video work. Get off the keyboard.
Did you see Stuart Cleary's thing about the white version's coming up a lot cheaper? I think it is.
Oh, what, for the microphone?
No, for the
case?
No, for the 420 cooler thing for the build.
Oh, is it? Didn't know that. Nick Barnes says,
A lot cheaper, I
can
fancy.
hear the caller? Yes, can hear it. Who farted outside next door? Heard calf cough in. I also can hear the cat and the bowl. Right, okay. In that case, we give up on this thing. It has got a nice sound signature. When I did the video, and you'll hear it where I've actually had some time to set it up properly, and it does sound a lot different. I do find that, actually, with OBS, when I'm doing a desktop recording, it sounds completely different than what it does when I'm streaming. I'm not really sure why that is. It should just be the same settings, but it doesn't seem to be. Otis!
That sounded like you, Candy. Oops.
Right, let's go back to the other microphone, so I better adjust the... What are you doing, dude? Oh, you want to sleep on your bag? Or don't fall off it. Jeez, it's like a bloody zoo. Right, that's enough of this microphone. I'm going to mute it now, and we'll go back to the lav mics. I'm guessing that's quite annoying. Oh, going the wrong way. Oh, what's going on there? There we go. That should be back to normalised audio, hopefully. Mike is not frozen, he just sits really still. I do. Is that better? Do you have the right pattern selected, cardioid? This doesn't have a option to select any pattern. It basically, it kind of is what it is. So no, I've not been able to select anything. It is just plug it in and it works. At least that's theory. William Bodie says to Nick Barnes, did a virus scan, found a download sponsor app. Now there is no freeze. There you go. That might be the answer. You have some kind of
But why does it
infection.
on our channel?
I don't know. That's a very good question. Right, let's pack this away. Nick Barnes says, have to say the Boyas sound much better. They do. For our particular environment, I would say yes. I think they do sound particularly nice. That is why I've always struggled with microphones, because it's been one of those things. It's really hard to get something which works as well as these little lav mics. Now they are considerably more expensive. Like the lav mic kit I've got here, the wireless version, is I think it's about £150 for the twin mic setup. So it's a lot of money, whereas this is like £50. So does it sound like £100 worse, or does it just sound different? That's the kind of thing that a lot of people will be asking and thinking to themselves. Alternatively, if you get the wired version of the Boya lav mic for 15 quid, it's really hard to kind of look at things like this unless you have a specific need for it. I really do like these Boya mics. I've said that many times, and I've always stuck with them through the many years that we've been doing this channel now. And yeah, I've always been very pleased with the output. And hopefully you have it too. It is not an omnidirectional mic. Not too sure. Mookie MC says, had another package taken from my front door after delivery. I think it's time to invest in some hidden camera. Are porch pirates a thing in the UK and elsewhere? Yeah, I think it's pretty much a universal thing these days, porch pirates. Well, they're saying
We've never had one, Nick.
we're very lucky where we live. We live in Bristol, which has numerous different areas, some of which are better than others, or at least in terms of kind of crime rates and what have you. Where we live is somewhat of almost like a retirement village, to be honest with you. It's got quite an elderly demographic, and it's quite a nice, peaceful place. Like, yeah, you get the occasional thing, and even just a couple of roads away, the area changes dramatically. But luckily where we are, it's in... Dave, you can't have that. That is for the mouse mat. Does it smell good? It smells of oranges. You might want to eat that.
He's a cat.
He's a cat. You don't want to eat that, do you, silly monkey?
Eat fruit or veg. He's a carnivore.
Right, you little omnivore. Yeah, so we live in a pretty kind of nice-ish area. So we went down to the shops the other day, and we were due a delivery from Overclockers, and it turned up and the Royal Mail guy just left it on the doorstep. Didn't even bother carding, just left it on the doorstep. Dave, don't eat the bloody cables.
You can't walk through that bit, can you? You've got to put your head under it, not over it.
I'm gonna have to check my blood pressure.
It's
Anyway,
Dave.
so yeah, we live in a pretty decent area. You can leave stuff on the porch and almost all day, and very rarely will anyone either look at it. You can see our porch directly from the... Dave!
Come here.
Oh, he's eating the cables. I am gonna
He's
go
not
mad.
playing. You're playing, aren't you?
Dave Paul says good evening, and everyone else watching. How you doing, Dave? Good to see you. Aletta says I've got a couple of large dogs and no one comes into my yard, much less take anything off the porch. Well, that's good to hear. Dave's our guard cat.
You see him off, don't you, Dave?
Right then, let's have a look at this case. So this is what I should have got around to doing bloody ages ago, but you know me. So I am going to be rebuilding the streaming PC. So in theory, we should get our new routers come through in the next day or two. Again, I'm not going to say who sent it, because I'm not sure if they want it to be public or not. But anyway, thank you if you're watching. So new routers will be coming shortly. So I'm not going to be able to do a stream in between, I don't think, with the PC being transformed to find out whether it's been the PC or whether it's been the internet. It might still happen, so whatever. We'll see what happens. But anyway, so the PC you see behind me currently, which is in the Thermaltake Series 500, is going to be going for a while. I'm not too sure if it will go long term, but certainly for a while. I just want to try something a bit different. It's been there for a long time now. And I've always missed... We previously had the Techware VXR case, which was a more fish tank orientated style case. It had a few little drawbacks. You couldn't put larger coolers in there. 360mm rads struggled to fit generally. They did go in there, and we had numerous ones in there, but it wasn't designed for it. I had to do a lot of modifications to it with a Dremel, which for some people was cool, but for other people it's kind of like, no, don't want to mess with it. I just want a case that works. So when Thermaltake came out with the V270, I was like, right, this is cool. This is what I've wanted for a long time. Now, it isn't as cheap as I would like it to have been, if I'm completely honest with you. So this case comes in at the moment. It's on pre-order at scan.co.uk and various other places for $79.99. Which, if this was 2-3 years ago, I would say it's too expensive. But it isn't 2 or 3 years ago. It's 2024, and well, I can see the light flashing there to say the internet's gone. We've got little wireless, like what are they called? Smart home things, actually on one of the lights over there. And I just saw it flickering at the corner of my eye, which means that it's lost connection.
Sorry for any
I digress. So,
stupid messages, it's Dave.
yes, it's not 2021 anymore, or 2020. It's 2024. The economy is pretty screwed. Inflation's on the up, and money is worth less. So things are getting more expensive. So the kind of comparisons for cases are a little bit of a moot point these days. Anyway, let's have a look at the case, and you can make up your own minds whether or not you think this is worth £80. I am thinking it probably is, but it may not be everyone's cup of tea. And bear in mind some of the really, really strong competition on the market at the moment from the likes of Montech, who are doing a lot of very, very good things at very good prices at the moment. it kind of puts some of it into context. And also Antec as well. And someone actually said that Montec and Antec are part of the same company, which actually does make some sense. If you look at the branding, Antec logo looks almost the same as the Montec logo. But then that isn't unusual in the PC market. So,
I think that was right.
what?
What you just said. I
What?
think
Montec and Antec?
Was that a comment you put on someone else's channel? And then,
Someone else put a comment and said it.
yeah, and then they actually came back and replied.
Yeah. And I'm still none the wiser.
But I don't.
Anyway, so this is the V270. Now it gets its name because, surprisingly, there is 270 degrees of openness for the glass. Now I've still got the peel on there, so obviously it looks a little bit more creamy than what it would normally, and probably a little bit less reflective, which is possibly a good thing. Let's take the side panels off, the glass panels off, and we can take a closer look inside. First of all, it is pretty much I would argue it is a toolless design. There are some things that obviously you are going to need a screwdriver to build a PC, but in terms of actually taking it apart, in general, the most obvious things are all toolless. So in order to take the front panel off, there's a little latch inside of here, or like a little indentation, and you just pull that out, and the glass comes out. I'm a bit concerned because when you do that, this side actually is in quite firmly, and the glass does want to flex a little bit, but it's tempered glass, so it's kind of okay for doing that. But yeah, I think that will need to come a bit looser after a while. It's held in place on little ledges. There's 3 little indentations there which go into the bottom, so when you're putting it back in, you just line those up and bosh, there you go.
Is the black version
The glass back in.
clear or dark tinted?
The black version, as far as I can tell, is slightly tinted, very slightly tinted, as is the matcha, but I don't think the... Actually, we can find out, because Wayne, I think, in the chat has got the
He's got the hydrangea.
hydrangea blue. I'm guessing, because the hydrangea blue is kind of like a tweak of the white version, so I'm guessing that is going to have completely clear glass. Maybe Wayne, you can comment on that in the chat. Yeah, see, that doesn't want to come out very easily, which does concern me a little bit, because if that shatters, it's going to make a hell of a mess. So maybe I'm going to file that down a little bit just to make it come out a little bit easier. Anyway, there's a glass. It is actually completely transparent from the film.
I have 3 cats running around. Yeah. Well, not even cats. Cats.
So we can start seeing inside of it a little bit more. This side panel, Dave. This one does the same thing, so just a little tug on the front. That one comes out a lot easier actually. So I think it's just one of those is slightly misaligned. Same deal. So that just got 2 little lugs in there, which rest in there. Flip them up, job done. So let's put that to one side also. So now you can see what it's all about. And yeah, you have 270 degrees of open space for doing your builds, getting access to stuff. The bottom bits, which are ventilated, as you can probably see.
Hydrangea blue, no tint at all.
Thank you.
Andrew says, where do you order parts from in the UK?
Where do I order parts from? Generally, I tend to order from Amazon, to be fair. Overclockers sometimes, Scan sometimes, eBuyer sometimes, eBay sometimes. I would say probably a good 90% or more comes from Amazon. Purely for the fact that even if it is slightly more expensive, generally you get it next day on Prime, and also much easier returns. Whereas all of the other companies in the UK are a pain in the ass to get anything sent back. So yes, definitely Amazon all the way if you can.
Dave, watching you.
So bottom section, there's 3 screws there and 3 on the bottom. So if you want to, you can take that panel out in its entirety. And the same goes for that bit there. So 2 screws there, 2 at the top, 2 underneath, and that can come out as well. So if you want to do something a little bit creative and maybe paint something on there, then you can do relatively easily. And surprisingly, I didn't expect this to be as good as it is. But if you look at this now, like this section here is completely unsupported, other than the fact that it's part of the same metal as the case. Now there is a little bit of indentation there where like the machining is done, which is supposed to be there, but with any metal, as soon as you bend it or do anything with it, it kind of weakens it a little bit. So you'd expect this part to be really weak, but actually, like, I wish I could say how much weight I'm putting on it, but I'm pulling down pretty hard there, and there's a very small amount of flex. Nothing which would, I would say, would cause me any concern. And trying to push it upward, you can see my arm shaking a bit there where I'm putting so much force into it, and it's pretty bloody solid. Considering this thing only weighs 6.3 kilos, when it's like this, like 6.3 kilos is actually pretty lightweight for a case, to be honest. Most cases these days tend to be somewhere between the kind of 8 and maybe 10 kilos, which this does seem noticeably lighter. I think a lot of that is down to the perforations, because I'll be honest, it's like a bloody big tea bag. A glass-sided tea bag is what this thing is like. It really is. There's a fan in the back, as you can probably see already, so it comes included with the Thermaltake CT140 ARGB fans. I would have liked it to have the new EX versions with the magnetic connections on. I think those are much nicer. Maybe that will happen as time goes on, but for now, that is what it is. Those are actually really nice and easy to work with because you can daisy chain them still, but there's a bit of cabling. But it also means that you can actually make it into a relatively inexpensive build. Now, if you wanted to get them as cheap as possible fans, you can. Obviously, there's loads of brands out there which do super cheap fans. You've got all kinds of brands on Amazon, some known, some less known. You've also got things like the Thermaltake, the TL12s, I think they are. Those are like 16, 17 quid for a pack of 3. Absolutely fine. A little bit noisy for me, but for most people, absolutely fine. So if you want to, get the CT120s or CT140s in here, no problems at all. And you can actually stick a surprisingly large amount of fans in here for the size of the case, because it is actually quite small, but yet still will support eATX motherboards. Dave, what are you doing? Sit. Come on then. Come over. Sorry. Dave wants to see the case. He's very excited by it. He doesn't know why it doesn't come in a kind of tabby colour like him. Or mottled. What colour is he? What do you call that?
I'd call it like white and tabby.
Yeah, tabby white thing. Anyway, moving on. So fans, you can put 3 120mm fans on the bottom, and that is all ventilated, as you can see. So it will pull in some air. There's actually a nice little pass-through there for your power supply. So if you're using a graphics card when you want to get the power up, you can run it through there if you want to. Or obviously if you're putting the fans there, that is going to cover that up. So you won't see a great deal of that. And also if you're putting fans in here, ideally, Dave, don't even dare biting stuff. Yes.
I won't do it, Grumpy.
So with these, Swanfans are going to be your friends here, or any reverse mounted blade fans. So they're going to pull air in through. Obviously you've got all this filtration around the outside edges. Even if you've got a power supply underneath this shroud, there is, I think, a good, maybe a centimetre of gap there. So it still is going to draw in some air. Not going to be a huge amount, it's not going to be completely unrestricted air, but it's obviously going to be better than nothing. And depending on the graphics card you're putting in here, not all graphics cards need an absolute ton of air cooling these days, especially some of the newer NVIDIA ones which run ridiculously cool anyway, even under a full load. So that is optional if you want to put some fans there. I think, I'm really unsure at the moment what fans to do. I have got 6 Swanfans in white, so I'm thinking that would be great. I'll take out the CT140 at the back, put a Swanfan there, 3 Swanfan 120s along here, and another 2 here. So this will take 2 120mm fans. It looks like you could get a radiator in here if you wanted to. It doesn't state it on their website that you can, and you would have to kind of bear some things in mind. So if you've got a radiator in here, that's going to take up like the 240 space. So you need to add on a little bit more above, or possibly below, for the pipes to come out. And also this is ever so slightly recessed by probably about 2 or 3 millimeters. So if you are using a radiator which is bigger than that slightly recessed area, you're going to have it so rather than your radiator being flat against the back like that, it's going to be on a little bit of an angle. May or may not be a problem. Hello.
Lunar says it looks like a fish tank and he is watching.
It is a fish tank. Thank you, Lunar. Thanks for watching. Yeah, it is a fish tank-esque case. And again, for me, like this is perfect for us here because where the PC is at the moment, you can see the positioning of it. So this PC, you can't really see much of the front at all or what's going on there. So that might as well not exist. With this, no, there aren't. That is something I did say actually in the review video, which I haven't edited yet. That was something which I would have liked to have seen, some rubber grommets. After all, it is an £80 case. And £80 I feel is still getting towards that, or actually maybe even is. I'm a little bit out of touch in terms of pricing. I still think my mind is still set in the kind of £40 to £50 or maybe £60 for a case is kind of like where I'm happy. When I start going above that, there needs to be some good reasons to spend that much more extra money. Maybe you're in the same position, I don't know, let me know in the comments. What would you say is your kind of your baseline price for a good case or a nice case? Are you like me, like somewhere between 40 and 60 quid you're kind of happy with? Anything more, there has to be some really compelling reasons to go for that. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Yes, Kath?
Mookie asks us, this is not one of those cases where you can plug everything in at the rear?
No. No, this is not supporting the back to front layout or the Project Zero. To be completely honest with you, the Project Zero stuff, you could get it to work quite easily because literally it's just a matter of dremeling out a section. So you'd have to do some DIY work, but yeah, there's no reason why it couldn't be modified to work with Project Zero boards, but it doesn't necessarily support it out of the box. The Project Zero stuff, I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about that. It's a good idea if it doesn't cost anything to implement. If it's the same price as normal stuff, then I'm happy for it. But if it's going to be a case where, excuse the pun, where cases are going to cost more money or the motherboards are going to be prohibitively expensive, I think it's dead in the water. But we'll see how things turn out. Hopefully they start doing some more cost-effective priced cases and cases and motherboards to make it worthwhile doing. But at the moment, I think it's almost like the BTX format where it's kind of a good idea, but no one's going to implement it. Yes, Kath?
Rick's just ordered the Hydrangea Blue case, $91 with tax.
Nice.
And
Well done, Rick.
Nick Barnes says £80 acceptable if decent PWM fans included, say 3 of.
Yeah, okay.
Andrew says 70 to 100, but must have 3 fans minimum at that price for me.
Yep. I think we're all on the same page here. I think if you're paying upwards of £60 to £100 for a case, it needs to have at least 3, if not 4 fans of a high quality. I think in this day and age, that is a given. Especially, again, I keep on harping back to it, Montech cases, they're doing some really good stuff, really good pricing. Antec are not far behind them at the moment. Hopefully between the two of them, they're going to shake up the market a little bit. I would love for that to be the case. Again, no pun intended. I think Thermaltake have got a little bit of a slight advantage in terms of their fans. The fans are actually really good quality. They are arguably the best kind of stock case fans that you can get by a considerable margin. Whether or not it's enough to tempt buyers, I honestly don't know. And like with all things, it all mounts up. So say for instance with this, going back to what we were saying about the fan capacity, so 3 fans on the bottom, optional I guess, 2 on the side. I think with this kind of design you really want to have 2 fans there just to fill up that little void. 1 in the back comes with, so that's not an extra expense. So if you went for the bare minimum and just put another 2 fans here, you could pick up maybe, where are they? You could pick up some of these, the CT120 ARGB in white. A 2-pack like this, I think they're somewhere in the region of about £27 at the moment. So kind of like 12, about £13 a fan, which isn't cheap. But if you look at other alternatives such as the Arctic P120s, they're not that dissimilar in price. So, and it is a slightly unique design, as you can see there. So add on that as well, 25 quid, say for argument's sake, on top of the case being 80, you're looking at over £100, which still I think is, well, it's not an inconsiderable amount of money, is it? It's a lot of change, especially the way the economic climate is at the moment. But the beauty with this is you're not paying extra for the case because of the fans, because you've only got the one in there, which I think they've just done as kind of like, well, we've got to put something in there. I think personally, I would have possibly preferred to see this case without a fan, and maybe rather than being 80 quid, maybe somehow doing it for, I don't know, 60, 65. You think the fan on its own is worth arguably about £15 of retail value. So maybe if they did it without it, and I think £70 is still a bit of a stretch.
But then, what fan have they got in there?
There's none, that's it.
What's that one fan?
Yeah, just one fan.
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, it's a CT140.
So that's
Thermaltake.
kind of to entice you to buy
Yeah,
more of that brand to match.
That is it. So the point is they put one in, expecting you to go out and order a bunch of these to go with it, which if you're doing the colorway matching, the matcha green, the hydrangea blue, then obviously you're only going to get matching fans from Thermaltake. So you're kind of locked into that ecosystem a little bit. Yeah, it's one of those things which is debatable. I still don't know what to do with the fans. I am wanting to put a 360mm radiator in the top. I have got the, where is it? Praying I didn't leave anything on top of there. So I have got this, which is their TH360 V2, the one with the new pump in it. That's got CT120 fans on already. So if I put that in there, that's our 3 fans taken care of on the top. So at that point then, it's like, well, I might as well put the CT fans in the other location. So put another 2 in there. That's our 2-pack. But then do I do 3 on the bottom as well? I don't know whether it's necessary, to be honest with you. It depends how much airflow we can get in from this side at a lower RPM for noise reasons. So this is kind of like where I'm putting this whole idea of the build together. And it actually isn't going to be that dissimilar from what we've got going on behind us, because that's got CT140 fans, 3 in the front, 1 in the back, and it's got the Tough Air in the top. So it's not that much of a change, but in terms of the actual design and layout, it very much is. Anyway, let's move around and have a look at some other parts of it. So on the back, got a nice thumb screw on the back of here to open up for your PCI Express. Now this is an area where I think I don't think it's a deal breaker, but I think they could have gone a little bit further, put a little bit more effort in. Now the PCI Express blanking plates, only the top one is removable. All the others are the bend out ones, which is, I don't know. Like I said in the review, which you possibly will watch, replacing these with the normal blanking plates isn't a hard thing to do. You can probably pick up a pack of 6 or 7 for I don't know, a couple of quid at best. The fact that they don't have them makes you think that this case is a slightly cheaper case than it actually is, because the metal is actually like really strong, and those are really hard to actually bend out, but they will need to be bent out. So I'll take one out now. So that isn't going back in there. So that I think is a bad idea. I think they should have taken those out.
Bend out style plates is exactly $1 budget case stuff.
Yes, that is my thought. Now, these are actually like really hard to bend. They take a little bit to give, whereas normal ones in cheap cases, normally you just breathe on them and they bend. But these are actually like decent, good quality bits of metal. It's just a shame they haven't fashioned them into a means that you can actually replace them. So it does make me, and I think it will make buyers look at the case and go, well, if they've skimped on that, what else have they skimped on? Now, at the moment, I can't find anything else that they have skimped on, if I'm completely honest with you. Everything else looks to be pretty much bang on. But it's little things like that which change it from being like an £80 case to being kind of like a £60 or less case, I think, personally. It's not a big deal, and I'm probably making it to be a bigger deal than it actually is. Considering they've gone to all the length of all this, like nicely done. There's actually screw hole mounts in the bottom as well, specifically for the fans to go in. Other little details, like there's a centralizing lug in the middle of the motherboard, which you don't necessarily have to do. That is an increased cost because someone actually has to put that that one in specifically in the factory rather than just all within normal ones. Yeah, just it's bizarre. And like the build quality is structurally really, really good. Just a shame that they've done that, I think. Anyway, so ATX power supply in the bottom, up to 220 mils in length. Graphics card, now obviously because of this and its extremely open nature, and the fact that really on here fans are going to be no more than like 25 mil, which is going to be fine. You can fit a graphics card in here of up to 420 mil, 420 blazing. So 420 mil, basically up to the edge here. So the biggest and longest graphics cards on the market are going to fit in here easily, no problems at all. But there's no option for vertical mounting, which again, I personally don't care. I'm not bothered whether the GPU is mounted vertically or horizontally. But again, it's in that price point where we're beginning to see those extra things, or even maybe like a mount included. So yeah, I feel they've possibly misjudged the price a little bit on this somewhere.
So when
Yes,
it says it is a big deal, tell me where to get hydrangea blue ones for ranking plates.
That's actually, yeah, that is a very good question.
But
A
my
lot-
Sunday job, he can make you up the colour.
Yeah, I can make up the colour at work. The I think with the hydrangea blue ones, has it got white blanking plates installed, or has it got blue ones? I haven't had a
Imagine blue, because if it's Wayne, he's got it, hasn't he?
yeah.
Otherwise
Yeah.
he wouldn't say that.
Yeah, they would be, yeah. Is the removable one blue as well, or is the removable one white, Wayne? Sorry, we're having a private conversation here, but we'll carry on. Anyway, so yeah, like this, really nice machine screw in there. This whole hinged assembly, all very nice, but I think they've kind of let that down a little bit more. Ventilation all around here, mounts in the back for the 140, which is included, or the 120, a bit smaller. Obviously I/O and all that, it's all nicely done. There's no sharp edges or anything. So that's pretty good. On the back you can get an idea of where
Blue.
they're blue. Okay. On the back you can see where the ventilation, so this is going to be kind of your intake. And notice they've done the intake right to the very bottom. So the fans just kind of start about there. So they've done the extra bit at the bottom, ventilation. So if you are going to do the bottom mounted fans, at least there's a little bit more air that can be brought into the system. So that's pretty cool. And again, really nice machine screws on the side panel with little grommets on there as well to stop it scratching the paint. Handle to remove it. The back panel is a little bit flimsy, but most cases are these days, to be fair.
Is Montec a subsidiary of TT?
No, not that I'm aware of. The filter in here, so you've got kind of mesh on mesh, so I'm not sure whether or not this is really necessary. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. There is actually a big enough gap between it so it isn't like directly touching it. And also, kind of like the way they've done this, so because the case is folded over at the top and the bottom, the filter actually fits into those ridges. So you kind of line it up there, and then you can tuck that underneath so that holds it in place. Quite often when you get these cases, it's probably happened to you guys as well, when you actually get cases home after they've been shipped around, generally because there's only magnets, it gets bumped around, you get home and it's kind of like, it's like that, or you find it in the bottom of the case somewhere. But this one actually arrived with the filter in place. Whether or not it's because of that, I don't know. It's not really anything important, but it's just, it is a nice thing, I suppose, that they've actually thought about it a little bit. So moving on to the back, so pass-throughs at the top for EPS and all your usual stuff. You've got the bundled up cables there for the CT140 ARGB fan. I like the fact they've done the cabling in white here. So because this is going to be your kind of intake potentially for your fans, the fact that these are all nice flat cables, that's going to allow air to pass through there very easily. So you don't really have to worry about cable managing this bit up too much if you don't want to. Or if you do, you can just simply take it to the side there, and there is a channel for it to kind of be cable tied into. So if you want it to be a little bit cleaner looking, you can definitely do that. Bring your cables down through. For the cables, HD audio as you'd expect, USB 3.0, 2 cables, so 2 ports. You also got USB Type-C, which I think is a necessity on any case over £60 these days. arguably over 50. And last of all, front panel connection. So hard drive, LED, power button, reset, all on one molded plug. These are great, love them. This is the way that all cases should be, and hopefully they will be. Swing that over and get a better look inside. So again, pass-throughs for your cables, 2.5 inch mounting plate there for SSDs, hard drive caddy there, removable. You can put two 3.5 inch drives, one on the bottom, one on the top. Or alternatively, if you want to put a 2.5 on the top, you can do. There's screws for that also. Or take it out in its entirety. I did say this in the review actually, that cage is actually movable, so you can move it back a bit, which makes me think that potentially there's going to be a mesh version of this out at some point, or the case design was built on something else anyway, because there's no reason why you'd want to move that cage backward unless you were putting a radiator in the front, which you can't get one in there because it's solid. So yeah, definitely either from a different design, different tooling, or there's going to be a mesh version of this available with possibly just a side glass panel rather than 270. Yes.
William Bodie asks, sorry, what do you think, Mike, about the PC case overall?
What do I think about it overall? When I first saw it, I'll be honest, I looked at it and I even posted on their post on Facebook, I think it was, and it's like, I've got to get one of those, that looks amazing. And it does. I really like the look of it. I do like these fish tank style cases. I still like it a lot, and I'm looking forward very much to building it. My slight reservations are the PCI Express blanking plates. That weirdly bugs me. Potentially it's going to bug other people as well. And at the time when I first saw it, I didn't know the price. So $79.99 with free shipping. It doesn't sound outrageous, but it doesn't make me think I've got to have one. But again, I'm still in that mindset where a case is 40 to 60 quid, which they really aren't. Those days are gone, and they're going faster and faster. So I really like it. I just wish it was cheaper. I think at £60, this would sell like hot flicking cakes. It really, really would. At £70, it probably would as well. At £80, I'm not so sure. I don't know. It still is nice, and there's still a lot of reasons that I like it. I don't know. It's when the GameMax F15 came out, and it was like 60, 65 quid. It was like, you got to buy it. It's the best thing on the market. Really, it really is for the money. You can't beat it. And it's just a shame that there isn't something which has taken that mantle at that price with those specs and those features. I think that was a really rare thing. The whole Lian Li 215, the GameMax F15, that was like a really special time. Yes, Kath?
Equilateral, room in the bottom for 2 hotspot bays?
No. There's room in the bottom for, well, they're not hot swap, they're just screw in. So you can just put 2 bays. You could probably fashion something in there, to be honest with you. There is quite a lot of room. Surprisingly, actually, a lot of room. Oh. Owner's manual. Lots of room for power supply, 220mm power supply. I haven't mentioned that yet, have I? No. Yes.
Trafgood, how much is this PC?
This case is $79.99.
What's the total cost for this PC, he says?
No idea, because I haven't built it.
Yeah, but you've put all the bits in.
I haven't really. Because
Oh.
I'm still undecided, so I don't know. Depending on which way I go on the graphics card, it could end up being, I don't know, 1,000. It could be 1,200. It might be a little bit less than that. I'm really not sure. I'm still umming and ahhing. I'm really undecided about the fans, because the thing is, if I go with the Swanfans, which I actually really want to do because of the reverse blades on there, that bumps up the price massively, because the Swanfans for a set of 3 are like 80 quid. And if I put in 2 sets, that's 160 quid's worth of fans alone, which is really, really extravagant. and most people will probably never in a million years do it, but I have them. They were sent to me free of charge for review, so it seems criminal not to use them in something which actually they would work particularly well in. Alternatively, if I use the CT fans, again, they were sent free of charge, so I could use those quite easily. They don't actually do a reverse fan version at the moment, so if I get the... where did I put them? There. If I put a fan in, you can see what it's going to look like, and then I'll show you the example with the Swanfan, which I think you'll understand where I'm coming from. The thing is with reverse blade fans, you can't just use any reverse blade fans. That's really hard to say, because some reverse blade fans aren't good and basically are almost pointless. So you don't really want to use those unless you absolutely have to.
Is the HDD caddy removable or riveted?
HDD caddy is removable. So with these, the CT120s, I put them in the reverse orientation. It's actually not too bad. If I put a Thermaltake sticker over there, I don't think it would look too bad at all. Let's get the other fan out so you can see the difference. So obviously that looks a lot nicer than that. And being that where it is going to be on display there on that side bit, so you are going to see that relatively clearly, especially if I've got my camera set up right, so you might not. So yeah, that is kind of how it's going to look. So I don't really like the look of that with the reverse blades. And it's an unfortunate thing that you don't have to put fans in there, but I think because of where they are, otherwise it's going to be a really open, empty space, and otherwise it's only the fan in the back which is doing the hard work. And when it comes to the fans on the deck here, like that looks okay.
My deck.
Have you seen my deck? So those will go in something like that. That actually looks okay. I can live with that, but then they are facing the wrong way. So then they're going to have to be like that, facing up, which probably no one will ever see. And they still actually look quite clean in there. Oh, there's something there. Something feels a bit uneven there. Yeah, so 3 fans along the bottom. I think it would make more sense to put the Swanfans in there with the blades facing upwards. But I do kind of like the look of the CT fans. They do look quite nice. And it's a considerably cheaper option to do it that way. Unless I do exhaust fans on the side and the back and intake on the bottom, so it just comes up and goes straight out. That, again, is possibly another way of doing it. I don't know. It's almost the point they've given too much choice. Or I've got too much choice. If they'd have come just with the fans as standard, and they chucked in like a couple of these straight in there, straight out the box, in that position, and they're like, right, that's your setup, there you go. The choice would be so much simpler, because you just put your motherboard and stuff in and you're off to the races. So yeah, I don't know. Let's read your comments. What are people thinking? Ugly Bob says, yeah, I'd pay 80 notes for that, in black of course. Joe says, I like it. Captain White says, externally it's so similar to the Fantex XT View, and that's 75 to 80 pounds as well. Wayne Taylor says, Swanfans, what I use look awesome. Good stuff. Chris S says, make me want to build another one. Do it. Reverse fans for the win, says Captain White. I wonder how a fan would work if polarity is reversed. They sound really choppy. I have tried that, and yeah, they sound really choppy. Don't know why. Viali says, get a white sticker for the fan, you won't notice it. Well, yeah, I could just remove the sticker. And this, I'm pretty sure that underneath there is just white plastic. Let's have a look. In fact, actually, if it is just white plastic under there, I might just do that. Although I do love the Swanfans. They are so cool, but they are so expensive. I should treat myself. I am nearly 50 years old.
60.
Shit. There we go. So take the sticker off the back, and actually, I think we're onto a winner. I don't think we need Swanfans. Call up Thermaltake, get them on the phone, tell them to cancel the production run. We don't need Swanfans anymore. We're just going to peel off a bunch of stickers. How does that look? I think that looks okay, because that bit almost kind of blends into the background anyway. The only thing is, when it's lit up with RGB, you are going to notice those bars more so. Yeah, that's something which I haven't taken into consideration. That looks absolutely fine, but as soon as you turn on the lighting, you're going to see those bars a little bit. Whereas obviously with that, it's a much cleaner look. And just for comparison, Flame is a door, not a knocker. So these are the Swanfan EX RGB. So that alone is going to be pretty cool. Because then also I only need one cable. It's a shame it's not about a month or so later on in the year, because the Swanfan, the CT120 and CT140 EX RGBs are coming out soon. So they're basically the same as Swanfans, but with these blades, fixed blades. And they're going to be considerably cheaper options. So that is actually very nice. And of course, on the side, they're going to look like that. But we'll have to Swanfan them up.
Oh, they all think you really are 60.
I'm not 60. So, there, with the Swanfan blades, so that's with the reverse blades on. I think that does look nicer. I think that's actually going to fill the space nicely.
Brian says, sorry Mike, but it's a showcase, so using normal fans as intake looks wrong, cheap even.
Yeah, you're actually, yeah, you're right. It is supposed to be a showcase PC. So I think it is going to be Swanfantastic. So that one will go in the back. And grab another box of these. Swanfan 12s. The problem is though, I am short of Swanfans, so I'm going to need another 3 for the top. So Adam from Thermaltake, if you're watching, please can I have some more Swanfans in white, please. He's going to be pissed off with me because the last time he asked me what fans I needed, I said, oh, I'll have the black ones. And I was secretly hoping that this case would come in black, because I'm thinking, oh great, I can use the black Swanfans I've got. They'll be perfect. But it just arrived. I'm actually almost tempted to buy another one of these cases in black, just so I can do the black Swanfan thing in them. So I think I actually do miss having a black case up there. So there we go. All the way around. So there. It's going to be something very similar to that. So we've got 3 intake fans on the bottom, also with a bit of RGB spilling on the side as well, which is going to be nice. We'll get rid of the CT140 in the back, replace it with a single Swanfan 120, so it matches up with the rest, and also going to give us a little bit of extra room for the radiator. And I think with those fans in the side there, the Swanfans on the bottom.
Everyone wants to talk to Adam.
Everybody wants to talk to Adam. So yeah, I think we're pretty much sold on going down the Swanfan route. And actually, something which I found out, which some of you may have seen already, this was the original Swanfans, which came with the control hub from Thermaltake. But you don't actually have to use that, because the new Swanfan EX ARGB, you're right.
Yeah.
Did you have your hand up for a question?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, give me a sec. The you can replace the RGB thing, and you can just use them with the normal motherboard ARGB, so you don't have to install the Thermaltake software if you don't want to. Yes, Kath?
Captain Light's put a link in about another case. Okay,
I will check that out. What case is that? Oh, Antec, is that? Is that the C5 or does C? Antec's Constellation C5 comes with 7 fans, 6 of which are reverse flow. So all in the Antec Constellation. I do like the look of that, I'll be honest. I have actually reached out to Antec, but unfortunately, the rep for Antec in the UK is none other than the man known as Dan Henderson. If any of you follow tech news, you'll know who Dan Henderson is. And currently, I think he's probably chilling after all of the trauma he's been through very recently. So yeah, I haven't had a reply as of yet. I might not get one. Sometimes you reach out to companies and they just, la, not interested. And it's okay. We're all grown-ups, we're going to live with that. But it will be nice. I haven't had an Antec case since what was the one that Stuart Cleary sent a while back. That was okay, but I really did miss my my 900 series cases, which we all had one, didn't we? You had a 900, I had a 900, George had a 900, the media centre in the front room was a 900. The 900 was the way to go. Yes, Kath?
Especially spray white.
Yeah, it was.
William Bodie.
Yes, William Bodie.
Why so many fans in an ITX board?
It's not ITX, it's ATX. Oh, ITX. I'm not doing any ITX builds for the foreseeable. Just not going to do it. Right, let me pack this away. So I think that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with the Swanfans. I'm going to go all out. I'm going to buy some water cooling parts.
Dave's going for the Swanfans box.
Dave, get out the Swanfan box, you little Swanfan headed freak.
Oh, never. Close your ears, Dave.
Close your ears, Dave. You're not a codfish. Bonus points for anyone who recognises what film that was from. And you'd have to be approximately my age or more.
They will think you're 60s.
I'm not 60, I'm bloody 50. Well, not even 50, I'm 49.
Until Monday.
Yeah. Nick Barnes says, so you're doubling the price of the case just by adding fans doesn't make sense. Better buy CTE case. Stuart Cleary says, Thermaltake Swanfans, £93 for 3. Yeah, they are eye-wateringly expensive. That's the trouble these days. Like, nothing's getting cheaper. And if you want a nice looking case, like, we haven't even scratched the surface of the absolute hell that we could introduce ourselves to with water cooling, like custom water cooling. I was watching a Jay's 2 cents video the other day. I think it was yesterday actually. And he bought a water block for his graphics card. And the water block alone for his GPU costs more than my GPU.
A fish called Wanda.
No. Come along, Michael. We're not a codfish.
Close your mouth, Michael.
Close your mouth, Michael. We are not a codfish. What film is that from? It's a very, very, very famous film.
And old.
And
Very
old. Like me and
Fish
Kath.
called Jeff.
A fish called Jeff. My name is Jeff. Jules. No, it's not Jules. I like your thinking though.
That was Nick Bard.
Come on, someone's going to... Actually, I'm not sure. Oh yeah,
sing a few songs from it?
Because I might get copyright strike.
I doubt it.
I doubt it as well.
Oh, Ugly Bob's got it.
Ugly Bob's got it. I bet he's just Googled it.
I
Bob,
bet he
Bob's
has.
pretty sharp, mind. Fair play to him. He's pretty sharp. He'd have been,
Dave.
Dave, don't chew the cables.
You don't need to walk over the cables so you can walk under.
I've got enough problems with internet as it is.
Right now, he's got it on like a bloody mankini.
Dave, it's not a mankini.
Get away from the wires, baby. Good boy.
Right, so mind is made up. We'll be consulting Adam for more Swanfans. I have actually got some other Swanfans in different colours, but I think that would look silly, so I'm not going to do that. So we're not going to get any more of this build done tonight, I don't think, so I'm kind of giving up on the prospect, but we will discuss what parts.
Right, Dave.
Because
Over to you.
Dave,
See what you think of that case. Give a Dave's review of it.
Dave's unboxing reviews and how Muse.
There you go.
Just checking, yeah, there isn't. I thought there might have been another securing screw for that, but there doesn't appear to be. So, excuse me one moment, viewer. I will just take this out of the way because I think Dave's going to get a bit too excited.
Are you excited, Dave?
He is excited, and he just can't hide it. He's about to lose control, and I think he likes it.
Oh, Dave Jones is a little monkey.
He really is.
And then I saw his face.
I never understand which way round these bits go on these cases. But still. Right, we'll be looking at your questions and looking at the motherboard and other components very shortly. The other components are actually somewhat of a dilemma, as they say, because I am actually really unsure what I'm going to put in this. I know the motherboard, I know the processor, so that's definitely a start. But some other items I'm not entirely sure of.
Ugly Bob's seen Mary Poppins about 50 times.
Mary Poppins, now you're doing flash dance. What a feat! No, I'm not going to do that. Right,
Must be an English film.
right. Power supply wise, I'm not putting this in because it's under here somewhere. Where's the other power supply? Oh, it's down the other side. I can't grab it. Right. Graphics card. I have the option of either RTX4070 from MSI or where's the other thing gone? There's too many boxes in here. Actually, that's not it either. Right. I may have lost a graphics card. How do you lose a graphics card? It's a big bloody box. I know. Getting old.
You're nearly 60.
I'm not nearly 60 still. You're closer to 60 than I am. I've definitely lost the graphics card.
Dave at it.
Now, how do you lose a graphics card?
By not being organised.
It is hard to be organised there. That's a little bit scary. It's got to be in here somewhere. Right, well, somewhere in this house there is a 7800XT. But do you know what? Fuck. Excuse my French. I don't know where it is. I appear to have lost a graphics card. How do you lose a 7800XT? It's got to be down here somewhere. Ah, there he is. Thank God for that. I thought I had a brain fart. Right, okay. So this is the big question, isn't it? This is the one which most people at some point ask themselves. And actually, let's throw that into the mix as well. So, This is the holy trinity of cards at an approximately similar price point and arguably performance. So you've got the RX7800XT, which I would say in terms of rasterization performance and general overall performance is probably the fastest. Got the 4070, which is going to be using a lot less power and slightly slower in quite a few of the tasks. And then you've got the 6800, which is going to save you some money. So I need to have a little boys' room visit. So you discuss amongst yourselves. I'm going to mute my mic so you can't hear me pissing. And I will be back very shortly. And we're back in the room. Quite literally. And only managed to lose about 10 viewers. That's not bad. Okay, so let's read your comments and see what the general consensus is. I'm strongly going with this one. The reason for that, it is a white graphics card, so it kind of fits in with that white aesthetic. Also, the motherboard we're going to be using is this one, the MSI B650 Edge Wi-Fi, which again is predominantly silver and white. So that I think is going to tie up very nicely with that. So I'm thinking that the PC behind me is going to end up being a predominantly MSI themed build, which I'm not too sure if that is what I should be doing. I think it probably will be. Sneaky swig of beer. I have not had an alcoholic drink since, actually I don't even know, when's the last time I had an alcoholic drink, Kath?
A couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
It was a couple of weeks ago. I think we went out, didn't we?
No, when you had one, when, what were you doing,
Oh,
something
yeah.
with Angel?
I was cooking something, weren't we?
Yeah, it's like
Viali 100 says it's got to be all AMD. You never know. Wayne Taylor, Sapphire Radeon Pulse 7900 GRE 16 gig. The white Wild Bill says the white one, no brainer. Given it's white, it's also the right choice. Nvidia all the way, says William Bodie. I think the 4070 Super probably nudges it in performance. I think, yeah, it's a very close call. So, what is everyone else saying? Aletta says, BRB, need to throw a few hot dogs in the microwave. Nick Barnes says, it's in your mini PC, lol. Zero Defect says, I vote MSI 4070 Super. So the thing is with the 4070 Super, that is currently in my video editing PC, which is currently adjacent over there, which I swapped out for my 7800XT. So the 7800XT was in the video editing PC. I then got a chance at the 4070 Super at a very good price. So I swapped out with the assumption that Adobe Premiere would be far superior on the 4070 Super. It is, but it isn't. So rendering times are almost half when it comes to the NVIDIA card. So I can render a kind of 15-minute video in probably about 5 minutes. Whereas if I use the AMD card, it renders in about 7 or 8 minutes, which isn't a huge deal. And generally I don't sit there doing nothing while it's rendering, I'm doing other stuff. So it isn't the end of the world at all. And I do find the extra 4 GB of RAM on the 7800XT actually does make the timeline a little bit smoother, especially when I've got multiple layers of 4K video on the timeline, which is relatively rare, but pretty much every video you've seen of ours recently, you've got a 4K timeline, just me talking nonsense, and then when you're seeing B-roll, I take a clip and put it over the top. Poppy, what are you doing? You lunatic. Trying to climb out the window. So, either way, I'm not bothered. If I put the 7800XT back in my PC over there, it's fine. Not a problem at all. Yeah, so either way is good. I think, personally, that I would like to go back to an MSI build. This one, I'll be honest with you, it's actually been very stable, borderline flawless. Obviously, we've got our streaming issue sometimes, but in general, it's been absolutely fine. So I'm not saying that the ASUS system is by any means like not up to it, but there are some things I still dislike about Armory Crate. I still don't like the way that ASUS kind of rams you into doing certain things. They've also got to the point where fan speed doesn't like using some of the new some of the B650 chipsets in terms of fans. So every now and then it will just not see the fan controllers on the motherboard, which is obviously a little bit of a pain in the backside if you're in a slightly studio type scenario and you need your fans to behave themselves, which they kind of weren't. So that is slightly problematic. The only other thing as well that I'm thinking about not switching over is the fact that when I am playing games, when I do get some spare time, it's Flight Sim 2020, CS2, Fortnite are kind of like the three kind of go-to ones. And majority of that favour the NVIDIA graphics card. So I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot slightly by putting the 7800XT back in my normal PC. I don't like using the stream PC for gaming because it's in the wrong place altogether. Anyway, I digress. So, iRollPoint says just don't use Intel. That's a good point. Rick H says I love Intel. I would love for Intel to come out with the Battlemage and for it to be either on par or just slightly behind AMD and Nvidia. I think that would be amazing. I actually wouldn't mind an all Intel system. I think that would be quite nice. But anyway, we'll see. Wayne Taylor says MSI, no, got shits on with them now. They won't be making any AMD graphics cards. I'm not sure if they're not making any, but I think what they said is they're going to be prioritizing NVIDIA cards, which is actually what they've been doing for the last 2 generations, really. So it's not really that they aren't making them. It's just that I guess they're reading the market to some extent. If you look at sales, generally, NVIDIA absolutely wipes the floor with AMD and Intel. And I think it's a good sort of 80% of the market are NVIDIA, or people buying cards are NVIDIA. So you have to look at it from their point of view. I agree, it would be great if they did both. And I think the Radeon, the RX580s, that sort of stuff, and then the 6000 series of graphics cards were actually pretty compelling. And MSI did do quite a few. And I actually own quite a few of them, the MSI RX 6000 series cards. But if you're a business, you do have to kind of read the room a little bit, and especially if things are tightening up a bit, if they can make graphics cards and they're going to sell, then that makes sense rather than them making graphics cards and them sitting on a shelf somewhere. That's not ideal for anybody. And look at the amount of times that AMD have recently had to do price cuts. Price cut after price cut to remain somewhat relevant. it's not the same deal where it used to be AMD was the underdog and they did things which were similar performance but for less money. It's getting to the point where they're kind of one tier behind where they should be, but for the same price. So they're not as competitive as they would be. I still like AMD graphics cards, don't get me wrong, and I think in some instances they have tremendous value. In fact, I've just picked up another one of these. The ironically, it's Asus, an Asus Dual RX7600. I think the 6600, is probably the best value graphics card on the market right now for the modern generations, or more modern generations. This is a cracking card, and AMD at the moment with the pricing on those has nailed it. It absolutely makes sense. But I think in the mid-range and the upper end, AMD are definitely struggling. Got bananas in it. What are people saying? Ira Wolfman says AMD have had a 48% drop in sales this year. Yeah. Again, you kind of have to read the room a little bit in terms of both AMD, Nvidia, and Intel. At the moment, what is the big thing? What is the hype? Where is the market being pushed? Clearly, it's towards AI and AI processors. And in fact, pretty much every modern CPU will have some form of AI integration or AI assistance built into the platform. So, it's me, echoing. That is going to be a lot of the emphasis on the AI stuff, because they know that it sells, and because there is so much hype around it, the whole kind of graphics processing side of things is like, the AI thing is like, yay, we can make money here. So everyone's getting involved in that. So the graphics card market has become quite stale. It's become very overpriced for the perceived value of what we see in graphics cards. And like the entry level now for AMD and Nvidia cards is in excess of like £300, which is nuts for like an entry level graphics card, or an entry level graphics card which kind of makes some sense. So we're talking like 3060, 12 gigs, that sort of thing, which you can still pick up. The 7600 XT, not really worth it. So it's, yeah, Ira Wolfman's nailed it, absolutely nailed it. AI is like 3D or VR. It's just hype, and it will fizzle out, because there's only so far that it can go. It's like anything which happens. So when the like the 3D glasses for watching movies or for playing games, it came in, everyone's like, yeah, 3D this, 3D that, and poof, within a year, maybe 2 years, basically no one was interested again. And same with like HDR or 4K. It was all, yeah, 4K is the way to go, and everyone now knows that 4K gaming is basically pointless. And if you want to do 4K gaming at any sensible frame rates, you have to use some sort of scaling or turn the resolution, turn the quality right down. So it's still very much pointless. 4K was overhyped, overblown, and still is to this day. We still aren't managing to do 4K gaming properly. So yeah, it's a very weird position that we're in, especially if you're an enthusiast and you like it. Like, I'm in a really awkward position. I was saying this to Kath a little bit earlier today when we were chatting. For me, and probably a lot of other people, especially content creators, or if you work in computer industry in some way, shape or form, it's really hard when your hobby is also your job. Because for me personally, I have to stay somewhat interested in what is going on, technology, so motherboards, processors, graphics cards, storage, cases, lighting, you name it, all that sort of stuff. It's also my hobby as well. And normally your hobby you're interested in because you are interested in, and it's something which interests you. And that's why a lot of people switch hobbies, because you do something and then it gets a bit stale and you're like, oh, something else, and you move on to something else. For me, it's really difficult to do that, because my hobby is computers and gaming, and my job is computers, gaming and YouTube. So they are very much linked, and it's kind of like, where does one end and the next one begin? So if I'm not enjoying my hobby, then I'm not really enjoying my job, which is, I think, where a lot of people are right now. You love computers, you love gaming, hence probably why you're watching this stream, because you rather watch YouTube for a couple of hours than you would go down in the pub or to, I don't know, do whatever, play football or something like that. You're doing it because this is your hobby. And it is starting to get really, really stale, and there's nothing really on the horizon, which is massively interesting. Everything's getting more expensive. You're getting seemingly worse or the same performance per dollar or per pound or per euro, whatever. So it's a really awkward place to be in. And I do, probably what I said earlier, going back to the case, the V270. It's an £80 case. So who does that appeal to? Does it appeal to the first time buyer? Possibly. Does it appeal to the mainstream? Yeah, quite possibly. Does it appeal to the high-end builder? Debatable, because if you're a high-end builder, you're spending £500 plus on a graphics card. You're spending £200 plus on a motherboard. So do you then want to compromise a little bit on your case? Or do you want to spend another 20, 30, 40 pounds to get something higher end, like one of the CTE cases, which are higher quality cases, more flexible, lots of features. So yeah, it's just, everything seems to be driving towards costing more to get something satisfactory. Whereas when I started the channel, you could build yourself a reasonable gaming PC for about 300 quid. And you'd be quite happy with it, and most games would run on it. Yeah, they wouldn't run great, but they would run. Whereas now we've got games which seem to be getting more and more visually demanding, but not really that much more interesting, and costing an absolute fortune to get them to perform in a satisfactory manner. So it's quite depressing to maintain focus and stay interested in stuff. And I quite often think to myself, I should just like forget all of this stuff and just go back to my roots and just, right, what's the cheapest processor I can buy? What's the cheapest motherboard I can buy? Does all the RGB and peripherals match? No, they don't. What the hell? Let's just cobble it together. Hell, let's put the whole thing in a cardboard box. Let's just go back to basics. And I think the whole industry needs a bit of a reset. Just cut off all the faff, not worry about all the RGB lighting, not worry about everything being synchronized, not worry about styles, visuals, and all that kind of stuff. Chuck everything inside a beige box and just go back to enjoying computers for what they are, a tool, rather than being something to look at on a desk. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm probably waffling on way too much about that crap now. David Under says, the pub at 7:30 AM on a Sunday? Not likely. You should come around to our area. Wayne Taylor says, consumer GPUs only area AMD was down. Every other area had record profits. Enterprise was up 80% alone. Again, that is part of the problem, because the enterprise is buying a different type of product altogether. AMD became AMD because of what they were when they were. And now they've kind of gone into other markets. And I would say AMD are probably about 5 years behind NVIDIA in terms of the way they are acting or the way they are using the PC market. And AMD at the moment still, I would say, has some consideration or thought towards the average gamer. Hence some of their low tier products. But I think that's going to wear pretty thin, and they're going to start seeing where the money actually is. The bean counters are going to want profitability, so if it means ditching some of the lower end graphics market and concentrating on enterprise and AI, they probably will. And I think we can already see that happening to some extent, because the new AMD integrated APUs on the new Strix Halo, or Halo Point, appears to be very similar to like a high-end previous generation desktop GPU. So that means that essentially all the entry-level graphics cards will kind of disappear, and the only graphics cards you're going to want to buy are the mid-range and the high tier, whereas the low end is going to be done all on a single chip, which I am quite excited for, as long as it doesn't cost an absolute fortune. You think back not that long ago, you could pick up a reasonably good AMD APU, which would play games for not much more than 50 quid. I don't think we're going to see that ever again, especially on the AM5 platform, which again is a big shame. Wayne says, Nvidia started it experimenting. Will they pay $2,500 for a GPU? And idiots did. That's very true. And I think the whole kind of global pandemic helped in that regard, because it got to the point where people were being thrown money to stay at home. They needed to still work or keep themselves entertained. So you needed a computer or a console or whatever. Those all shot up in price because of demand. And it's never really recovered. The economy is still not recovered, really, and it probably won't. It probably won't at all. But I think for a lot of people, if you're just getting into the computer and gaming market now, and you're fresh to it, and you're now looking at the prices, that will be your new normal. Whereas I think a lot of us, especially those of us that got a few more miles on the clock, are looking back at previous days and previous options that we had in the market. And they're thinking, oh God, we had it so good back then, we just didn't know it. I like to say hindsight is a very good thing. Ryan says, what happened to the build? Am I late? I basically talked too much and didn't really start it. I'm still umming and ahhing about some parts, and there's still some things I need to iron out. So we haven't started that. I've kind of still gone over it. I know the motherboard. I know the processor, so the motherboard's going to be the MSI B650 Gaming Edge Wi-Fi. Processor, I'm going to go with the Ryzen 7 7700, the AliExpress special, which does appear to work. Hard drive, or storage-wise, I'm actually going to go with something which a lot of people probably won't understand or won't get. But I'm going to go with the Fiquot FN501 1TB drive. Maybe two of them, like a C drive and a D drive. Those drives are still relatively inexpensive and seem to be doing a really good job. I've used at least 4 or 5 of them now, and they've all been brilliant. So I will be sticking with those for the foreseeable until something else comes along which is cheaper and more reliable, which probably ain't going to happen for a while, especially now that DRAM prices seem to be going up as well. Alexa says, hindsight is best at the beach. Kath's not getting that one.
No, what's that mean?
Looking at people's buttocks. Blue Collar Watches and Computers says, my Voodoo 3 was $299 back in the day. I do remember those days. I was working in retail in the shop when the Voodoo 3 came out. I think was the Voodoo 3 the same time as the Banshee? I think it was. I think the Banshee came out at the same time. That wasn't particularly cheap either. Danmar007 says, are you suffering from nostalgia? Yeah. I wish there was a pill I could take for it. Nick Barnes says, I bought a Fiquot 1TB NVMe for a lad's PC, cheapest on Amazon. They are good. They're good drives. They really are. Stuart says, this is a build-up to the build. Yes, it is. The thumbnail was probably a little bit misleading. I will get some hate for that. I do apologise. But that's what it is. There's a lot of decisions to be made, and there's a lot of shit on the floor. There really is. I should talk about actually some of the reviews we've got coming up this week. So if you're a member or you're a Patreon backer, then you'll get early access to those. And thanks again to, come on, Brainwork, Dom. Thank you, Dom, for the members things earlier, for the donation. That's very cool. The APNX AP1 Now I know Dave Aiken, he's probably not watching this because he's probably knackered out because he's got a young child. But Dave suggested we get one of these in, and we have. So this is the AP1-V. This is a CPU cooler which looks very much like a Founders Edition graphics card. It's got a nice rounded edge to it. So I have done the review on this. It has been uploaded. It should be out to patrons possibly Monday. Maybe tomorrow, possibly. I'm not too sure.
It won't be for a while, I don't think.
Kath says it might not be for a while. Okay. It'll be out shortly, but and a very interesting cooler. And it's just been reduced in price considerably from, originally I think it came out for about $49.99, which was way too expensive, let's be fair. For a 120mm tower cooler, even if it looks great and makes coffee, it ain't worth 50 quid. Very few are.
Probably Thursday.
Thursday, Kath's saying.
Wednesday, Thursday.
This has dropped very recently to about 30 quid in most places. Now, if you just want a Thermaltake Assassin 120 SE for 15 quid or whatever, this isn't the cooler for you. This is a combination of aesthetics, performance, and price, arguably. You get all three. With the Thermaltakes, you kind of, it performs okay, the price is good, but it kind of looks a bit naff, a bit dated, a bit like a 212 Evo from 2002. Whereas this actually does look bang tidy, as Keith Lemon would say. So reviews coming out for that very shortly, so hopefully you will enjoy that. I actually enjoyed using it. It's not a bad cooler. I don't know whether I would specifically go out and buy one unless I had a build in mind for it. I think it's going to be one of those things where if you like the look of it and the look will fit in with the build you want to do, then it's perfect. Otherwise, there are other options, as we all know. What else have we got? Wayne says, I've just got a bunch of Asus Prime X670E Pro Wi-Fi's. Just got to replace the socket on them all. If you could use one. Cool, yeah. If it wasn't for the shipping, I would probably be interested. Motherboards are getting expensive over here. And shipping's not helping.
I've got to move again, mate. Sorry. Right, what are you doing in there, baby?
Aletta says, I'm not missing those wide-ass ribbon cables. I think we're all safe in the knowledge that wide-ass ribbon cables are, I won't say definitely, but they're unlikely to make a comeback. They were not great. Right. I think that is pretty much it. And if there's any last-minute questions, probably a good time to get them in right now, and we'll go through them. My brain is starting to give up. It is late. I do have to go to work tomorrow, unfortunately. Even though it is a bank holiday weekend, I have to go to work tomorrow in the shop.
And your 50th birthday on Monday.
And my 50th birthday on Monday. I'm not 60. I feel like it is sometimes. Well, I don't know, because I don't know what it's like. It doesn't matter what age you are. You always feel like you're 18 anyway, don't you? Until you have to get up or move or bend down or do something. So, thank you all so much for joining us on this stream. Sorry we didn't get the build done. My fault entirely. Should have. I was kind of half in the mind of that I wouldn't be able to show you the case because of the embargo. And I didn't find out that the embargo wasn't an embargo until very quickly before the stream. So I was kind of like, yeah, head was in the wrong place for it altogether. But we will get it done. 50 without the VAT. Yeah.
Jan thought you were turning 70.
I'm not 70. He's 50 plus tax. Bastards. Thank you, Mark Barry. Much appreciate it.
I mean, I am older than
David Under says 50 is a milestone. Enjoy your special day. Hope Kath did enjoy hers. Yeah, Kath's birthday was yesterday. To be honest with you, we don't really celebrate birthdays, and I know that it's 50 and it's a milestone, but we are basically not doing anything. Well, because I'm working anyway, and YouTube is kind of like a full-time job anyway, so
we don't even get
might spend a few minutes in the garden or something just to enjoy ourselves. But hey, it's on your birthday, shucks. Thank you all so much for your super chats, your contributions, your very kind PayPal donations. Don't forget, if you want to help support the channel and also support UK businesses, sorry, I thought the cat was chewing the cable. Don't forget to check out the mouse mats, mouse pads, desk pads, whatever you want to call them. At Technically Stable. Don't forget to use the link in the video, blah blah blah, etc. Discount code Mike. If you put in the discount code Mike, you should get 10% off. I think. Hopefully it all works. Again, it's a small company. They're getting started, so if there's any problems, any questions or anything, then yeah, just ask them or let me know and I'll see what we can do. And yeah, get yourself a nice pad. I'm actually quite impressed with this, it's alright. And it's got a nice top to it, so the cat's hairs aren't getting stuck in it, which they do in some. So we'll see.
So far.
Yeah. And even though this is a pretty crap old mouse, it does drag a bit, but hey, it's a crappy old mouse. Anyway, thank you all very much for your kindness, your donations, your comments, and your chat. If you want to stay in touch, head over to the Discord. I'll put a link in the thing. And don't forget as well, Windows keys, if you want your Windows keys more than ever now, because the new bypass thing from the Microsoft account seems to only work if you're connecting to a domain. And you can't connect to a domain unless you're on the professional version of Windows. Well, Windows 11 that is, so getting your license keys cheap and cheerful is always a thing to do. So don't forget, did that work? That did work, yes. So don't forget your cheap Windows keys and Office keys over at premiumcdkeys.com/Mike's Unboxing. And don't forget to use the code Mike's Unboxing on checkout. You get a discount on that as well. It's just discount, 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 isn't it? So thank you all very much. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you when I'm 52. Thanks for watching. 51 next. Well, 50 actually, technically next. Birthdays. Can't have a birthday thing. Hey, thanks everyone. Have a good weekend. And for those of you that are in the UK, enjoy your bank holiday weekend, and hopefully you go back to work on Tuesday. I'm going to work tomorrow. Sad. Anyway, see you all. Cheers. Bye.